Jon Snow is not Ned Stark's bastard son. He was born Aegon Targaryen, the son of Rhaegar and Lyanna Stark, making him the last living Targaryen with an undeniable link to dragons. This gives him a chance at being the prince that was promised who will ride a dragon into battle and defeat the darkness with fire and blood. But why Jon? Why out of all the surviving Targaryens does he have the best shot at a dragon bond? And how will that impact the world going forward? Let's break it down. Welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about Jon Snow, the last surviving Targaryen, and his potential destiny to ride a dragon into battle. If you're new here, welcome. We post Game of Thrones content every day, so if you like what you see, hit subscribe. Today we are discussing the most important moments from the series finale, so be warned, this video will contain spoilers from the entire series. You can find links to our written pieces in the description below, and we even have a page where you can submit your own theories. Without further ado, let's get into the video. In the Season 6 finale, we learned Jon Snow's true parentage. He's not Ned Stark's bastard son, but the legitimate son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, making him the last surviving Targaryen. His birth name is Aegon, which has strong ties to dragons in the Targaryen history. The first Targaryen to conquer and rule over Dragonstone was a king named Aegon the Unworthy, whose sisters were known as the Three Sisters. They were all dragon riders. In fact, dragons were the reason Aegon I was able to unite the Seven Kingdoms under his rule. There's an undeniable link between Targaryens and dragons, and now that Jon's true parentage has been revealed, that link runs strong through his veins. It would only make sense for him to have a dragon of his own, especially since he's a candidate for the prince that was promised prophecy. The prince that was promised is a messianic prophecy that foretells a hero who will be born of the line of the dragon, who will ride a dragon to save the realm from peril. There's no denying that Jon fits the bill. He's of the bloodline of the dragon, and as we saw in the Battle of Winterfell, he has a gift for handling dragons, which brings us to our next point. Why Jon? Why out of all the remaining Targaryens does he have the best chance at getting a dragon bond? When Viserion was reanimated by the Night King and brought back as an undead dragon, Jon was the only person who could calm him down. Everyone else was petrified in fear of the dragon, but not Jon. Viserion could sense that he was kin, and when Jon touched his snout, the dragon submitted instantly. Even though Viserion had been turned to the dark side and filled with dark magic, he knew deep down that Jon was family and that the boy deserved his trust. He didn't just submit because Jon was related to him, but because Jon's heart was pure. He had no ill intent towards Viserion or anyone else. He was willing to help and aid his brother, and he wanted to understand instead of destroy. Viserion chose Jon, not the other way around, and that's really important. Dragons do not bend to force, they choose their riders. We've seen this throughout history. Even before dragons went extinct, the bonds between dragon and rider were incredibly strong. It wasn't just a tool or a mount. It was a friendship and bond between two completely different species. The Dragon Prince, who is half human, half dragon, knows this bond better than anyone. When Callum goes to find a dragon egg so that he can redeem his father as sins and fulfill the prophecy, he doesn't try to force any dragon to ride. He doesn't even get close to the eggs until the dragons come to him. Even then, he still has to earn the dragon's trust and respect in order to ride it. Once he earns that, the bond is unbreakable. But which dragon will Jon ride? Currently there are two options. The first is Rhaegal, one of Daenerys' dragons, who managed to survive the destruction of King's Landing. The second option is an entirely new dragon, one that was just born in the wild. Jon could raise this dragon, train it and bond with it the way that the Dragon Prince did. Or he could take Rhaegal, who already knows how to fly and fight, but has been ridden by another human. There's a lot of factors that would need to align for either of these scenarios to happen. For starters, the dragon would need to be okay with Jon riding it. Rhaegal may have a harder time accepting this because he's already bonded with a rider. Then there's the fact that dragons are weapons of mass destruction. They burn entire armies to the ground, and that's not something you can just ignore. It also takes a certain level of training and communication to ride a dragon into battle. The dragon has to listen to its rider and follow commands. Otherwise, they could easily turn on their rider in a time of stress. Finally, riding a dragon is mentally exhausting. They're incredibly powerful creatures, more than any other animal in the series. To handle that power and wield it effectively takes a certain level of mental fortitude that Jon might not have. Not to mention that he'd much rather live among the free folk, away from all the politics and power struggles in the Seven Kingdoms. Still, if Jon did agree to ride a dragon, it would go a long way for his claim as king in the north, and it would give him a powerful weapon to use against his enemies. Right now, he's essentially just a man on a horse, which is nothing compared to a dragon rider. So let's explore this idea a little further. If Jon were to ride a dragon, how would that change things? As we mentioned earlier, Jon doesn't want to be a king. He doesn't want any part of ruling over the Seven Kingdoms. But if he had the power of a dragon backing him up, he might have a better chance at protecting the realm without having to sit on a throne. Right now, everyone thinks that Bran the Broken is the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. But after everything he's done, do people really want him to rule? Do they want a puppet king controlled by Tywin Lannister? Probably not. Jon's popularity in the Riverlands and the North could sweep him up into the position whether he likes it or not. And if he's going to be king, he might as well have a dragon to back him up. It would also give him a powerful tool against Cersei. She's responsible for the death of countless people, including Jon's parents, and the only reason he hasn't killed her yet is because he's honorable and believes in due process. But with Cersei, there is no due process. She's a Lannister through and through. So if Jon wants justice for his parents, he'll have to kill her himself. And what better way to do that than with a dragon at his side? But what about Daenerys? Could Jon ride one of her dragons? Well, technically, Rhaegal is the only one left. But the problem with that is that she's already bonded with him. In order to ride Rhaegal, Jon would have to kill Dany or convince her to let him ride. And considering that she's insane, it's hard to believe that she would let him ride without putting up a fight. Sure, Rhaegal chose Dany, but she chose him too. And she's not likely to give up her closest companion without a fight. So that leaves Jon with only one option, a wild dragon, one that's never been ridden by a human and has no preference for good or evil. And that's where things get tricky. Jon is honorable and just. He wouldn't hurt a fly if it didn't deserve it, so he'd be pretty much screwed if he tried to bond with a dragon in the wild. These dragons are wild animals and they don't care about honor or justice. They're scavengers that will eat anything and anyone. And if Jon couldn't prove that he was worthy of riding it, he would be burned alive in seconds. So unless he somehow earned the dragon's respect and trust, he would never get close enough to ride it into battle. But that's where Jon's character comes in. He is a man of action who is willing to put himself in harm's way to protect those he loves. If he wanted to ride a dragon, he'd be willing to put in the work. He'd learn everything he could about dragons and their behavior, and he'd do whatever it took to earn the dragoness respect. In conclusion, Jon Snow does have a chance at riding a dragon into battle. He's a Targaryen with a strong link to dragons, both literally and figuratively. He has the ability to calm dragons and connect with them on a deeper level. And if he wanted to, he could definitely train a dragon to ride into battle, but it wouldn't be easy. Dragons are wild animals and they don't care about human affairs. Jon would have to prove himself worthy of riding one, and that would take time and effort. Ultimately, though, it would be worth it because Jon is the kind of person who doesn't shy away from hard work. He is a leader who is willing to put himself in harm's way to protect those he loves. And if riding a dragon is what it takes to save the realm, then Jon is more than willing to do it, and that's what makes Jon Snow the ultimate dragon rider. He's not afraid of hard work. He's a natural leader and he has a heart of gold. Those are the qualities of a true dragon rider. Someone who's not just a warrior but a hero. What do you think? Would Jon Snow ride a dragon into battle? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos.